Hello, guys. Welcome to Viva Barca and welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to discuss on some interesting updates. We begin with this report talking about manager Xavi as Xavi's possible options at right back following Ronald Araujo's injury has been outlined by a recent report. We are going to discuss on that as we move ahead. Secondly, in this video, still talking about Xavi, who recently spoke about, you know, his experience so far since coaching Barca in 2021 and his challenges. We are also going to discuss on what he had to say. So guys, as we get right into it in much detail, please do ensure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. Barcelona were dealt with some very bad news on Thursday afternoon as it emerged that key defender Ronald Araujo had sustained a thigh injury. As a result of it, the Uruguayan international is set to be out of action for at least a month and will miss the upcoming three La Liga games against Cadiz, Villarreal and Osasuna at the very least. It comes as a big blow for manager Xavi Hernandez as he will be without one of his most trusted lieutenants for the next few games. A key player for Barca, Araujo, had been utilized at right back by Xavi since pre-season due to Jules Koundé's reluctance to continue in that position and a lack of more reliable alternatives. The Blaugrana are scouring the market for a new right back and they are closing in on Joao Cancelo's signing from Man City if recent reports are to be believed. But the deal is still not done and as such Xavi will have to find alternatives for the right back spot for the upcoming game against Cadiz and possibly beyond that if the Cancelo situation continues to drag on. So let's talk about Xavi's options to fill in at right back. As per a report from Mundo Deportivo's Jordi Batalla, manager Xavi would have three options at his disposal to fill in for the injured Araujo at right back against Cadiz. Sergio Dest would have been a choice, but the US men national team star is staring at an uncertain future at the club and has not been registered yet. As such, he would not be under consideration for the right back slot at all this season from the look of things. That leaves Xavi with first team captain Sergio Roberto, Koundé and young Alejandro Balde as options for the right back position. Roberto has played as a right-sided fullback for many years but has not always been convincing. Moreover, Xavi sees his captain as more of a midfielder and has been a bit reluctant to deploy him at the back in the recent past. As such, Jules Koundé could be forced to start as a makeshift right back again, despite his unwillingness to play in that position. In that scenario, Eric Garcia and Andreas Christensen could start at centre-back roles. Bade, meanwhile, could be a left-fielded choice for Xavi, with the manager having used the academy graduate at right back on some occasions last season. But with Marcos Alonso still not registered, it is unlikely that the academy left back could be pushed out to the opposite flank. Of course, now that Araujo picked up an injury yesterday, there have been numerous reports trying to speculate what Xavi would do against Cadiz, who will play the right back. Because we quite remember Xavi started using Araujo as right back from the game against Getafe. And now that a serious injury have hit the player, which it might make him to stay for 1 month without playing, Xavi now needs to brainstorm on who would be there at right back. Because talking about Des, who is the only natural right back, is completely out of the equation as Xavi does not even use him again for the squad. So there have been a lot of talk about Koundé coming back to the position where he played majority of the time last season, and also Sergio Roberto, who have also been a right back for a long time under Ernesto Valverde before Xavi came in and deployed him mostly at the midfield. and also a possibility of Alejandro Bade playing there, but that is so unlikely, especially as Marcos Alonso isn't available to play that left back as he isn't registered yet. I definitely think, in my own view, Kunde should be deployed at the right back. Last season, we saw Kunde playing right back even more than playing his own natural centre back role. And let's be honest, Kunde was really good there. He was good. That was why Xavi continues to use him there before he had to speak up his mind at the end of that last season. But I think Kunde will understand the situation. Kunde should definitely understand that there is no right back that Xavi can count upon apart from him, because he does it well than anybody that is now available. Araujo now is injured, so we can't afford to risk that 3 points on Sunday because one player is refusing to play the right back, which he can do it. I think it's just not. I think what Javi can make it clear is normally it is not something permanent. It's temporal because we know that Barca are pushing for Joao Cancelo and also Ivan Fresneda, to ensure that at least even if one fails, one of those targets will make it to the Camp Nou before the 2nd of September. you know. So as it stands right now, there is still that dilemma as to who will play that right back in the game against Sunday against Cadiz. So fingers crossed. As I said, I prefer Kunde to take over, and I think he should understand that it's because there's no available option that can do the job well, and that is why Javi can still count on him to play there on the temporal basis. Then on to the final story of discussion. Speaking in a recent launch event, Barca coach Xavi provided insight into football management in the modern day and touched upon how he draws from his own experience as a football player. Xavi began his managerial career at Qatari club Al Sadd before taking over the reins at Barca in November 2021. The former midfield icon has done a very solid job during his time as manager of Barca, leading them to the La Liga title and the Spanish Super Cup last season. Touching upon the aspect of man management and how it becomes more important than tactics these days at times, he said, management is almost more important than tactics. In the end, we become half psychologists, half managers, and having been a player before gives you a lot of advantages, he said. Further elaborating on that, he said, having been an elite footballer makes me more empathetic towards the player who doesn't play or who know what the player who needs affection is feeling. Having been a player gives you a sense of control of the dressing room. Throughout his playing career, Xavi played under some legendary managers: Pep Guardiola, Luis van Gaal, Vicente del Bosque, Frank Rijkaard, and Luis Aragonés, among others. Talking about how he has learned specific things from each of them, he said, having many coaches in the past means that I have learned a lot of things, like from Van Gaal, from Rijkaard, from Guardiola, from Luis Enrique, from Inaki Sainz and Luis Aragons. I learned my group management skills from Aragons and my tactical knowledge from Pep. But I also look at the people skills of Del Bosque. I remember, Rezak's talks as well. So guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.